And, obviously you're one of the new pieces along that offensive line with such a truncated training camp, and obviously not having the spring and some of the things to kind of get you guys ready. Just can you just speak to how well early on you guys are kind of gelling and fitting together? Because as you know, it's so important for those five guys to play as one up front. Just how's it going with kind of the condensed schedule, and are you worried at all that you won't have enough time to get where you need to be?
Yeah, Coach Patricia was trying to prepare us for this the whole spring because we just gotta work as a team to adjust because we're used to normal schedule, right? But he's always like, you gotta get used to the unnormal schedule, and if we can do that, I think we can work together well.
And just to follow up, you got some young guys up front alongside, Jonah Jackson, right next to you. Just curious, what you thought of those guys early on. I know it's very early, but maybe just some first impressions.
Yeah, after the last couple of days and it was really good to work with Jonah because so we can understand each other. I can work his mind, he can work my mind, and he's a good kid. He works hard. He tries to help me. I help him. So I think it's gonna be a good year.
And then last one, just yourself personally. What do you like about the offense and yourself fitting in there? And are you kind of where you want to be to get ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to work on, obviously, because we didn't have spring, and so I got to work a little bit faster and harder in the next couple of weeks. But the offense is great. Getting to work with Matt, it's gonna be cool, and with Frank, it's gonna be an interesting year. But I feel pretty confident about this year.
Is it different at all going into the year, knowing you're kind of that guy on the right side? Obviously in Philadelphia, there's some guys ahead of you. You're that swing tackle. Is it different at all knowing that you're kind of the guy now?
So when I was in Philly, I've always been told, hey, no, if you're not a starter or not, you got to act like you're a starter. If you're playing at a tight end position, act like you're a starter. If you're not, you still got to act like a starter. So when you get in the game, you'll be prepared.
Jen?
Hey there, Big V. Nice to meet you. Talk
Hello.
to you. I know that you were just talking about kind of starters and continuity, and so my question is kind of all encompassing about the offensive line. We always watch practice with the intention of who's starting, who are the starting five. How important is it, or to what extent does it really solidify, especially a position like the offensive line, when you know who those starters are and you can work with the same guys day in and day out?
So every day I come in and I do my best every day. It's what I put on film, it's for the coaches to decide. And so they're the ones who get to decide because, this is their team and it's my team too. So every day I'll go in there and then if they like it, they like it. If I need to work on a lot of things, they'll tell me and then I'll do my best to do that. And so, sorry.
One other question too, just kind of about continuity on the offensive line and kind of following up on what Tim was asking. How is that one of the more difficult position groups with this, this shortened training camp situation going and without any preseason games? How big is the challenge along the offensive line to get that continuity?
And so without preseason games, we gotta attack every day like it's a real game because that's all we got. We get to work with each other. And so with the defense going against the offense, I think that's the most we can get out of because we don't have no preseason games. So we just got to work as a unit and understand the game plan and what we're trying to achieve.
One follow-up, if you could just give me your impressions of what you've seen so far from the running backs, particularly DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, Swift is a good guy. I mean, just like all the other rookies, they're trying to make their name. They're trying to make their spot. And I feel like Swift is going to be a good addition to this team.
Thank you.
Him again.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you real quick. It's a pretty sweet mask you got going on there. Is that custom made or?
Yeah, it's custom made. Danny Shelton dropped this off onto my locker, and so I thought it'd be cool to show it off.
Kind of a Polynesian thing there?
Polynesian, represents brotherhood. So,
gotcha. Very cool.
All right, guys, you got time for a few more? All right, thank you, V.
Wait, I'm sorry, I do have one more.
Go ahead, Jen.
Nobody has one. I'm happy to dominate the press conference. So can you give me just your early impressions of Matthew Stafford and kind of his leadership? There was one play today where there was a missed connection with a receiver, and he kind of shouted, "Keep your eyes on me." Just maybe the way he commands the huddle, what you've learned from him just in this time that you've been around him so far.
What I noticed with Matt's always trying to win. And, if you're going to play with Matt or for Matt, you gotta pick up the tempo, because he's not here to lollygag, and he's here to win. And so I picked that up pretty fast, and I'll give him everything I have to protect him, because he's really good back there.
Dave, last question.
Just a real quick one for you. I like that mask as well. But I was just curious, what do you think games will be like if there are no fans in the stands this year? How difficult will that be to adjust to? And would you like to hear, piped in crowd noise or something to sort of simulate, an environment?
Sorry. I mean, honestly, I'm not worried about that. The only person I'm worried about is, the team I'm worried about is Chicago Bears. And so all that other distractions, they can do that, but I'm just worried about Chicago Bears.
Fair enough. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, V. Guys, go ahead and stay on the line. We're going to have Tracy Walker up next.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, VB.
Coaches that we have picked up, and the scheme right now, we're just trying to get more involved in our scheme, and I feel like we got a great room full of guys that's willing to play, we're ready to work, and that's doing everything in their power to just come and bond as one. So honestly, right now we're just focused on just coming as one and trying to just build a great defense.
All right, Dave.
Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Appreciate your time. You've got my condolences, first of all, on your loss, your cousin. You've had a tough few months with the death of your cousin. I know your wife is pregnant too. Unique time in that regard. But how do you think the past few months have changed you? How do you think you're different from what's happened?
It's definitely opened my eyes to a lot of situations, which I would say, as far as in me with my teammates, just seeing that they were all bought in on the same objective of just trying to basically promote the idea of social equality and social unity is everything, because we're all the same and we're all equal. So I feel like that's just one of the biggest things, just showing how everybody just, I hate to say it like this, but you don't really understand, as a black man growing up, you don't really understand if white people, I don't mean to say it like that, but that's the best way I know how, but you don't really understand that they really understand your struggle and understand what you have to go through, And I'm not saying that it's just we want a pity party, but at the same time, our teammates have definitely, as long as our coaches, they have definitely stepped up and just listened to us as we have vocalized the problems that we face, that we have been going through just growing up in daily lives. So honestly, I just love the way that we have united as one on every aspect, as just trying to be the best football team we are, the best in the community, and so forth. So I love the passion that my teammates are bringing each and every day, and I'm trying to match it. So that's the best thing I can answer.
Sorry about that. Two real quick follow-ups to that. One, what is the next step in that for you guys as a team? You guys collectively and individually. And then two, what would you like? You have this platform. What would you like people who maybe don't know what it was like growing up to know about that situation?
Well, definitely right now, just continue to reach out to the community and just continue to bring more awareness. That's first and foremost as for the team goal. And honestly, for me, just understand that, just because of the color of my skin and the way I look, honestly, I would just want people to just love me for me, you know what I'm saying? You guys have met me, and, every day I see y'all, I try to speak and be passionate, Like I said, I let you guys meet the real me, I don't want you to judge me just off of first impression and the way I look, Listen to me speak first. And that's the one thing I would say. Just accept me for who I am, because, I feel like I'm a great individual. I don't want to say that in a cocky manner, but, I feel like I'm very humble, and I love people. So.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, Kyle next.
What's up, Tracy? Thanks for your time.
It's all good.
There's a lot of anticipation, obviously, for Okudah and what he can do. I'm just curious what you've seen from the kid here in the first couple of days of practice.
Well, Okuda, he's definitely he has a great willingness to learn. He's hungry. He's always asking questions. And he came back in shape. He's ready. Yeah, from what I've seen so far, he looks ready. So, like I said, it's hard for me to just continue to just speak on what he has done. But from my perspective, I feel like he looks well. He looks great, fluid, the whole nine. So he has a willingness to learn, and he's hungry.
And your thoughts on just one more guy, Corey Unlin, your new coordinator. How does his style maybe differ from what you've had in the past year in Detroit?
Coach Unlin, he's a great coach. He's just all about business. He's demanding the best out of us, and so we're just trying to basically reach that level. I feel like it's hard to say that we're perfect, in which he sees us as perfection right now. So the way he's coaching us is he's just coaching us to perfection, and we're just trying to clean up the little mistakes. So as far as in Coach Unlin, man, he's a great coach. He's demanding a lot, and so you either get with it or get gone. So that's the objective we got to get with.
We'll go Jen next.
Hey, T, it's good to see you. And I appreciate all of your comments earlier because you are really one of the good guys. And I appreciate that you just try to be kind to us because I think the same thing. Anyway, that didn't come out as well as it should have. So during the one-on-one drills today, you had a little matchup with number 6 with DeAndre Swift.
No, I didn't.
You didn't once?
Not one-on-one.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess just give me your impressions. I must have written down the wrong numbers. Give me your impressions of what you've seen just from him so far on the field.
I'm gonna say this about all the rookies. I feel like with all the rookies, they all look great. Like I said, they all came back in shape, and they all have a willingness to learn. Not just Swift, not just Okuda. Those guys, like from the whole rookie class, like I said, they have a great willingness to learn, and they're all bought in. They're all accepting to all the things that we're bringing, and they're ready to work. That's just the main key right there. They're all ready to work, and they're all willing to do their role and be the best at their role. So that's just the main. I love our rookie class, like I said, but I love this team. This is a great team that I'm on. I have like I said, a great group of guys around me on offense and defense. Like I said, we're just trying to unite as one and accomplish the same goal. We're reaching for that same goal.
Thank you.
We'll go 2 more, Dave, then Tim.
Another quick follow-up or 2, Tracy. I'm sorry. And I echo what Jen said. We do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and letting us get to know you. But with regards to Ahmad, how are you going to honor him this year?
Well, definitely. I'm definitely going to wear his name on the back of my helmet for sure, with the whole social injustice thing with that. And I'm still working on it, but I'm working on a few T-shirts that I'm getting, with his picture on, and it's going. I'm gonna play with that on underneath my helmet, and I say underneath my helmet, I meant underneath my uniform. But I'm gonna just, like I said, his name gonna be on my cleats the whole nine. I'm gonna just continue to speak on the behalf of what he had went through. So. Like I said, it's a hell of a situation. It's a tough situation, but you control what you control. So I feel like that's the best way I can control what I can do right now, and I could use my voice, my platform in that aspect.
What does it mean that you can put his name on your helmet, honor him in that way, and then also how heavy is your heart still? A loss like that, how much do you still think about it, and does it still wear on you?
Well, it's definitely a blessing for me to be able to do that for the NFL, to accept me to be able to speak out in that manner, especially with the whole Kaepernick situation that went down. It's a blessing for the NFL to actually just listen and, accept what's going on right now. And also, as far as in that aspect, I'm a firm believer in life is 10% what happened to you, 90% how you respond, and I could sit here and be sad and sit here and just be crying and, be emotional about the whole situation. But I have to put in perspective that, first off, a lot of good, and I wouldn't say, I wanted this to happen this way, but a lot of good has come from that situation, and it has opened, like I said, a lot of eyes and things that's been going on for decades. It's just been getting overlooked. So like I said, the great thing about it all is that change is coming about. So that's the biggest blessing about it all, is that we're accepting change, and everybody is looking forward to the change. So that's the main key, is just continue to try to promote that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go last question, Tim.
And one last football one from me, Trace. You were played a reserve role as a rookie. got a chance to start last year and really came into your own. 100 tackles, led the team, was among the top defensive backs in terms of tackles for loss and tackles. Really productive. Just curious, what your goal was this offseason. Now heading into a third season after having that kind of year under your belt. What's your goal for this year, and did you prepare any different, or just your mindset heading into your third season?
My goal, first and foremost, is just for me to stay healthy all 16 games this year. I feel like that's what played a huge role in me missing games last year. So, and as far as in the stats and all that, that all sounds good, but I want to win. That's what I'm prepared for. I'm prepared to win and do my job and do it to the best of my ability. And whatever my role is, whether it's be the leader on the team or whether it's run down on special teams, I feel like I just want to buy in to help the team win. I feel like if I do that, the rest of it to take care of itself. The stats to take care of itself. Me leading the team or whatever the case may be, that all that's gonna handle its own. So I just try to be the best person I could be each and every day. That's my goal.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Y'all enjoy y'all day. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy. I wanted to ask about your route running. It looks pretty refined. I've talked to some people who, they think that maybe you were underutilized as a pass catcher at Georgia. I'm just curious, how you've refined that over the years and how you feel it.
I couldn't hear the last ending of the question.
I'm just asking about your route running and how you developed it over the years.
That's kind of started when I was younger, playing 7-on-7. Just always had a great ability just to catch, just working at it. And I think I could have been used more at Georgia in the past game. I think we just found ourselves in just ways to win the game. So we just kind of hand off the ball and just win the grimy way a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's something I want to definitely perfect at this level of football, just being used in different amount of ways.
Go, Justin.
Hey, DeAndre, I think the general consensus here is that, rookies are swimming a little over their head right now just because of the shortened off season, not just here in Detroit, but across the league. But, from what we've seen, you look really comfortable out there. Is that just a perception, or do you feel, comfortable and confident in these first couple practices, and why do you think that is?
I'm comfortable out there. I mean, it's football. I'm just happy to be back out there. Been away from the game for a minute. Just happy to be out there with the new team, trying to build communication and create relationships out there. I just feel good to be out there. Been playing football for a minute, so every time I step on the field, you kind of be comfortable.
What is the most difficult part of this initial transition for you?
Just getting everything down as far as the playbook, a lot of new different terminologies. Quarterbacks speak faster, signals come quicker. So just taking my studying habits and my maturity of the game and my knowledge of the game to the next level so I can, make sure that the coaches trust me.
Jennifer?
Hey, DeAndre, thanks for doing this. I have a couple of questions, actually. You've been getting a little bit of run with the first team. Just tell me what that means to you and how you feel like you have progressed in what you've done just the short time that you've been out there on the field with these guys.
I don't really look too much to it right now. I'm just trying to be consistent, put good stuff on film, and have good day after good day. That's what I'm really looking for, is going out there competing.
How much do you pick the brain of, some of the older guys and do offensive and defensive players, have they been lending kind of some advice and tips to you as well?
A lot. I done probably asked 100 questions just between Carry-On, Ty, and Matt Stafford already. Just anything that comes to my mind, anything that I'm not thinking or I don't know too much of, I go to them because I know that they've been here, they've been through it before. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I know I'm doing my part. And they've been phenomenal. Ty Johnson, Bo, all the running backs from Carry-On just been welcoming me and just treating me like family.
So Dave, next.
Hi, DeAndre. Appreciate the time. Just want to follow up on the very first question you were asked about the route running. Not to put the cart before the horse, I guess, with what your role will be. But when you look at guys like Alvin Kamara, backs that are very complete backs and have a big impact in the passing game, I don't know, do you envision yourself having, that type of role here as a rookie or before your career is done, I guess?
I feel like whatever role they have for me, I'm going to do it to my best ability. That comes with me being consistent in what they ask me to do every day. So I'm not going in here looking for something out of this. I'm going in there, like I said, trying to put good film on tape every day and whatever's gonna happen. But I definitely like watching Kamara and backs like that do different stuff out of the backfield. I think bring a different value to the running back position.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So Tim, then Kyle.
Yeah, this team obviously lost a big time receiver out of the backfield, and J.D. McKissick last year. He kind of played that big role. Would that be something that you would love to be involved in too? I know you just said kind of whatever they want, but being, having a third down role as well as first and second, being a 3-down back, do you take pride in a guy being able to do that?
Oh, most definitely. I always took pride in anything like getting out of the backfield, creating mismatches against linebackers, and just getting open space, and then making people miss, running crisp routes, catching the ball. It's kind of always something that I always like to do.
Kyle?
Yeah, DeAndre, I just wanted to pick up on something you had mentioned earlier about Matt Stafford. What kind of mentorship role has he taken with you? I mean, what's your dialogue with him like? Are you texting him at 10 p.m. about questions about the playbook, or like what's your relationship with him like, and what sort of mentorship role has he taken with you?
I don't text him at 10 o'clock. I think I'm
it's probably smart.
Studying by myself in the bed. But no, he's been great. We actually was working out when I was training in Georgia about a month or two ago. Just been great ever since. Just making sure that I know what I'm doing out there. Any question that I had, he invited me over his house. I was Zoom meetings over his house. Met his wife, met his kids. So he's just been welcoming me into his family, his life. So I appreciate him for that. And relationship has been getting better, been growing every day.
What sort of things did you do when you went to his house in Georgia?
We had Zoom meetings. We had food. We had lunch, and it was me, him, Quintez Cephas, Isaac Nauta, and Nick Baldwin. He's just welcoming us into the family.
Thank you.
Yeah, time for one or two more, guys.
Hey, DeAndre, what has been the biggest challenge thus far, just from the college game to the pro game, in your opinion, for your position?
I would say the details within the playbook. Like I said, you got to make your reps count up here. I can see that already. So I don't want to put anything bad out there. Just making sure that I'm prepared for the day, whatever install we have. Just making sure I'm on P's and Q's with everything that's in there for that day.
Okay, we'll go Justin. Last question.
Yeah, there are a couple Georgia backs now in the NFL. Just wondered what that brotherhood was like, how much you keep in contact with those guys, and maybe, I guess, the competition you guys have amongst each other now that you're all in the league.
Oh, it was great. I wish them guys good luck last week when they was going into camp. Talking to Sony and Nick about a week ago. Just try to keep in touch with them. They made my college experience much smoother than I thought it was going to be.
All right. Thanks, DeAndre. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
DeAndre.
Another good work day out there on the field. Guys working hard. Obviously, our second day in pads, so we had a lot to improve on. But I thought the effort was really, really high from the guys. I think they were trying to get things right. Obviously, Jay-Sean Cornell, we had a pretty serious injury on the field today. That was not good. So we're, getting with the doctors now to try to figure out exactly what that looks like. But that was a pretty severe injury from that standpoint. So he was in a lot of pain. He was down for a while. So, unfortunate that happened in that particular part of practice. But I think other than that, the guys, out there working really hard, trying to get better. It was kind of our second day here of early down stuff as we work and build our fundamentals of that part of the field. And then we'll start to get into some situational stuff here after the player day off. So continuing trying to get as close as possible to football and going out and kind of simulating normal football scenarios and situations. It was good. We had a couple live snaps down on the goal line, so that was good. To kind of get that in and get a little bit of tackling going and some live work. So just try to build it as we go further.
Let's go, Mike O'Hara. First question.
Okay. Hey, thanks for squeezing me in. Hey, Coach, you've talked about maximizing the 90 minutes and all that and efficiency. And I wonder, from Matthew Stafford's standpoint, how he's just so dialed in on that offense and what he did in the offseason, working with other guys and all that. I wonder what's the value of him being able to really set a standard of tempo and efficiency, not just the passing game, not just the offense, but how it leaks over even to the defense. And like, this is the standard of our team. I just wonder what the value of that is to you.
Yeah, no, it's really huge for me in that standpoint, especially because we are in training camp mode where we go offense versus defense. And one of the things we talk a lot about with the offense, and really Stafford's done an unbelievable job of just getting in and out of the huddle and having those substitutions be really sharp and crisp. And that puts a lot of pressure on the defense when that happens. And he certainly is very comfortable with the offensive system and being able to get guys where they need to go very quickly. So that sort of leadership and the command that he has of the offense, and the way that he can run it, at a high tempo and get it corrected or get it adjusted or make changes on the field based on what he sees against the defense, that does put a lot of pressure on the defense. So that's really good for us to get those kind of, almost game-like reps as much as we can in practice.
All right, thank you.
Justin?
Hey, Matt, we talked a little bit about Jonah Jackson and Jeff Okudah yesterday. Today, Cephas and Swift are out there, and they're kind of showing some flashes as well. These rookies really seem to be hitting the ground running despite the, shortened offseason. What kind of credit goes to your coaches or them, or how do you explain that they've been able to get acclimated and get going so quickly?
Yeah. You know what? I think, I totally agree. I think that the guys have been able to really kind of showcase what they do in a skill set sort of manner and kind of been put in situations where they can kind of just maybe just isolate their specific position and go out and show us what they can do. So first of all, give credit to the players. Those are the guys that are out there working. And I think they've all done a really good job through the course of an unusual spring to try to come into camp as ready to go as possible. And then through the course of the day and working with their teammates and kind of getting in there and listening. And certainly the coaches, on top of that, and getting them ready to go. A lot of camp right now is some fundamental stuff. So we do kind of have those guys in isolated, maybe one-on-one situations, or it's very small scale football stuff, but just so that we can see, what their skill set level is, if it's competitive and what needs to improve. Certainly as things pick up here and we get into more game situational things, down and distance, red area, third down, 2-minute, those sort of the mental bricks that get added on. That's where you see those guys slow down a little bit. So hopefully we can build those in the right way and they can kind of keep showcasing that performance on the field that we've seen, that production, along with trying to learn the intricacies of what's happening in the game.
And with the offensive guys specifically, what role does Matthew play in kind of bringing them along from all the way back to when he was doing the workouts during the off season through camp?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you give it to the individual player first, but certainly the quarterback is key to all of that, and I think Matthew Stafford is an unbelievable job with those guys of really just spending extra time with them and talking to them about some of those intricacies, the details of things that you've seen out on the field. Probably a lot of it in the passing game, certainly with the coverages and the routes and the leverage and things like that he can kind of talk to them and work, work through some of those scenarios for them. But certainly in the running game too, even with Swift out there and some of the reads and the checks that they've made at the line of scrimmage. So, he's part of all of it, and those guys are doing a really good job of just kind of listening and following his direction.
Go Tim next.
Two-part question, Coach, but same subject. Just what you've seen from Big V the first couple days, and then could you just talk about the value of the reps he's getting as a guy who's kind of come in, expected to play a big role, getting some starting reps versus maybe what he had in Philadelphia, playing behind two good guys. Was that swing tackle, was maybe right half practice, left half practice, just the change in the situation that he's coming into now and the value of that. So that two-parter.
Yeah. Big V's, I would say just things that impress you right away, obviously, is, he's big. So he's very large. He's got incredibly, really good footwork and strong hands. When he punches those guys and he gets his hands in their chest and he can get a hold of them, he's stoned a couple guys out of practice that I think were surprised at just how strong he is, but his footwork is really good too. He can move laterally and kind of stay with some of those quicker guys. So that kind of combination has been, it's been impressive so far. I think from a standpoint of just coming in and being ready to go, whatever position it is, tackle or guard or whatever we ask him to do, he's going to do. And, he tries to do it at a really high level, but I would say, the reps that he's been in there, and specifically at tackle, he really hasn't missed a beat. He's kind of just gotten all the information and he's done really well. This guy's played a lot of football in the NFL, and he started a few games, in one in particular that I don't really care for, but he's done it at a high level. So I think the expectation is there that he can do that at a high level. And certainly, we're in practice and we're trying to grind through camp. So it's still competition from that aspect of it. But the skill set that he's been able to display, has been good.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
Matt, I know you don't like to talk about the roster and the depth chart and things of that nature, but when you have a condensed style of training camp, what kind of importance does it put on getting guys in there and having certain guys together, continuity at certain positions, and working to keep, just first team starters all going together and learning together, things like that?
Yeah. I think it's really similar to other training camp years. I don't really know who the starters are. There is a lot that needs to be proved out on the field. Every year we start over, and guys go out and it's not really what they did last year. It's about what they can do for us this year. So I think they understand that, and we like to keep the competition high. Certainly at some point you like to have some continuity all the way across the board, because I think it helps with the communication. But, quite frankly, that's something that we really stress to try to get our guys comfortable not being in that scenario, because there are going to be changes week in, week out during the course of the season, whether it's, particular game plans or injuries or whatever the case may be. So, just getting used to having different guys out there and communicating, and kind of that next man up feel and being comfortable in those scenarios are critical for us. So there'll be a point as we grind through camp and we kind of hit our markers that, we'll probably settle in some guys that we think are, kind of that first group, whatever that may be, from that aspect of it, and really try to do our best we can to gel that group together. But, right now it's just about competition. It's about really just about going out and seeing what skill set everybody has and how we can utilize that as we get into the season.
Chris Burke?
Hey, Matt, had a full question for you. Just wanted to follow up on the Jashawn injury real quick. Do you guys, you said it's serious, so obviously without putting a timeline on it, if you need to go get someone now, do you have a group of guys you've had on standby, or do you have to go through that process you talked about before where it's, going to be 3-4 days before someone can join in?
Yeah, it's a really good question as far as the process. I think that's the biggest thing for us. So we've really tried to do a good job of having workouts and making sure that we have our short lists and ready lists of all positions in case something happens in that aspect of it. There is the testing part of it that is, that is a little bit that we have to work around. So even in a case where you may have done a couple position groups or worked out guys or kind of have your next in line sort of, list ready to go, they still have to kind of get into the testing, and we have to go through that process too. So it could take a couple of days.
And then my full question, I think this is a topic you probably would spend 2 or 3 hours at a coaching clinic on. So hopefully you can answer in 2 minutes, but had a couple of plays yesterday. Marv had a deep ball, a one-handed grab over Trufant. Kenny had one back of the end zone over Justin Coleman. You've got these big physical receivers that don't need a lot of space. So when you're talking to the DBs about those plays, especially your young guys, what are the teaching points if you have those plays where it's there's nothing else you can do there? You were there, the guy just made a play. What's the teaching point in those moments?
Yeah, certainly it's good to have those guys on our team. That's a positive. And I would say that there are some plays in the NFL. These are great football players that sometimes you're just that was a really good throw and that was a really good catch. There's no doubt that happens. Now, obviously, from a coach's perspective, we're going to look at the totality of the play and see, hey, could we have done something maybe at the line of scrimmage? Could we have done something at the transition? The one play with Marv actually is something that we've been working on for a while, and we actually got it, to Marvin's credit. He hit it perfect. It was a great throw. Obviously, he made a tremendous catch in certain situations where, we're fully competitive and we got to fight that thing all the way to the ground and try to get it out. That's some of the things that we'd have to do there. One-handed catches are hard to defend when guys make great catches. So that's part of it too. But maybe there's other things like in that particular play that we could have done before the actual catch point that would have made that play a little bit different or a little bit better as a scheme for the defense. certainly the Kenny play was a great catch. That was another high point play. It was a great throw by Stafford playing off of the leverage. And certainly there was some technique there by the DB in which way that we turned and kind of took on the receiver, maybe at the point of the catch that we could have done a little bit different that we're coaching through. And then certainly being able to go up and through and try to get the ball out is important for us and fight that thing all the way to the ground, which we don't want to do right now because, certainly then you're increasing the possibilities for injuries. But, as we get closer to the games and game scenarios, we got to do whatever we can to get that ball out.
Go 3 more with Carlos.
Sorry, I had it on mute. Hey, so you said that there's no starter position that's defined right now. It's all competition. I assume that means DeAndre Swift has a chance to become a starter if he wins the competition. And also just, I know you don't like to talk too much about specific players, but what would you like to see from DeAndre Swift in camp as he progresses, or any rookie running back,
Yeah, and I think the running back one is always the hardest. We kind of had this conversation a couple years ago with Carry On too, and just the adjustment to the game and the length of the NFL season. For me, for Swift, obviously, I think he's got a great skill set of what we saw in college, and we're exploring those different things that he can do, certainly at our level, and just being out there to do it consistently is a big thing for us right now. I think some of the different reads in the run game right now, we're trying to get improved for him and his eye control and some of those scenarios. But we do know that he's a smart guy and he can handle a lot. So not only in the run game, but the pass protection and being able to get the blitz pickups and some of the technique there, which, some of the linebackers at this level are a little bit bigger than maybe what they were in college, and some of those guys coming through there. So the technique is really important for us to be able to, make sure that we have that pocket protected. And then certainly we know that, there's different things that he can do in the passing game that, we want to try to build on from that standpoint. So not that it's, small steps, but we try to make sure we build it in a proper manner. And, so far he's done an outstanding job of handling all of that. And then certainly as we get towards more and more live contact in the running back position and being able to have really good contact balance, things like that we saw in college, and being able to break some of those tackles, the more of those scenarios we can get into and see and have that confidence in, certainly that'll help him along the way.
Last 2, Rothstein, then Dave.
Hey, Matt. I'm curious, when you look at Jamal Agnew, how do you, judge and view him maybe versus some of the other receivers because of the position switch he's making, and that he's probably having maybe a sharper learning curve than even a rookie in some ways because of that?
Yeah, and obviously without the spring, right? That was kind of the other thing from that standpoint, to be able to get those reps. I'll say this, he's handled it really well. I think he's done an outstanding job. And honestly, it was something that we kind of threw him over there at the end of the year last year, a little bit in the wide receiver area, and said, hey, what does this look like? I think, we try to cross train guys that we think can handle it. And he's someone that's kind of had some of that cross training before, and just looking at, ways to try to get him the ball. We think that he's pretty dynamic when the ball is in his hands. So we were doing some of that last year, but really, I think he's done a really good job of running some of his routes and learning the intricacies of, getting off the line of scrimmage. I think that, obviously at this level, press coverage and getting up and man-to-man and things like that with the DBs, that's a hard skill to learn if you're not used to it. I think his quickness has really kind of helped him there. He's been able to kind of get off the line of scrimmage. And then I think once he's in open space, you can really see, that quickness, that speed, and his feel, which is really good. He's still learning some of the details of the routes. We have a lot of plays that have adjustments based on coverage. And the one thing that he does know is he does know coverage. So he's able to kind of see the coverage. It's just kind of getting down the adjustments on top of that. But, really working extremely hard. He's been on it, all the way through the spring of just trying to get ready to go and take advantage of all those opportunities that he can.
So and this, you kind of hinted at this a little bit, but does his play as a corner for years actually maybe help him a little bit when it comes to maybe being in a team setting, if he's like a slot receiver where he can maybe dissect something that another receiver might not see?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt, from that aspect of it. I can't say it gives him an advantage over anybody else, but I certainly know that when we talk coverages and he looks at the defense, I know he knows what the defense is supposed to be and where they're supposed to be, so he can take advantage of that. That happens a lot with, there's a lot of transition, even if you're looking at college players that played wide receiver that moved to corner and then, transition that way also. I've had experience in the past where I've played wide receivers at DB positions, and it's funny when they come out and they're like, I knew what the route was because I've run that 5 times on 3rd and 5. I was like, man, okay, there you go. That's football. So I think from that aspect of it, it's pretty good. And it's the flip side. He just, he sees the coverage, he sees the help. I think that's one of the hardest things, when you're a receiver and you release off the line of scrimmage, if it's a defense that disguises really well, you're trying to figure out, okay, where's the help? Am I going to run into something? You don't want to do that. Either you're going to get lit up or it's, you're going to be covered. So from that aspect of it, he does see it.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Last one, Dave.
2 real quick ones, Matt. Number one, Kerryon Johnson didn't do much at practice today. Was that just a maintenance issue with him, or what was going on there?
Yeah, no, scheduled, trying to do everything we can to just, I thought he practiced really hard yesterday. I thought he had some really nice runs, and he's been doing some great work. And so certainly with the player day off tomorrow, just trying to maximize as much time as possible with the rest so that, we can hit it, when we get back.
And then number 2, your backup center spot, I guess. I mean, you guys have used a lot of players there through these first 2 days that we've seen. What it's probably self-explanatory, but maybe you can explain why that's so important, A, and then just B, what you've seen from some of those guys so far.
Yeah. The backup center position is one that I think is completely underrated. It's kind of like your backup long snapper. It's not important until it's important. And I think from that aspect, and during the game, I'm talking about, what I'm saying? Because when we get into those game scenarios where you're bringing so many offensive linemen to the game and being able to have swing tackles, guys that can play left and right. And same thing on the interior, are they guards only? Are they centers only? Or can they play center and guard? Just the overall value of that player goes up for you on game day. And that's really important and critical. So when we have the time, which is, now, even though we're pushed, you do try to make as many different scenarios where you can see if guys can handle it. And certainly from the center position with as much as put on that position from Mike points and different call outs that the quarterback and the center do for protections in the run game and things like that. You certainly want to get guys in those scenarios as much as possible. And then just, on top of being able to snap the ball and move. So trying to see that as much as we can. I think those guys have done a really good job. I think they've all really mixed in there without missing a beat. I'd say the most impressive part of all of it has been the communication. I don't think we've had any communication problems. Maybe some of the fundamental snaps and some of the movement skills there still need to be improved. And I would say it's a little bit more difficult up under center. So we're trying to get some of those as much as we can, but there's been a couple in gun too. And it's just kind of the familiarity with all of it.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back Thursday.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yep.